Well, sports betting is expected to bring in millions of tax revenue to the state, but where are all the proceeds going? Well, most of it will go toward youth and college athletics. 13 universities will receive $300,000 a year to go towards college athletics. $1 million will also go towards the NC Youth Outdoor Engagement Commission, which will fuel more grant money to help youth athletic teams.
This additional $1 million will help us to have a massive impact. As I said, in a pretty short period of time, we've been able to impact a lot of kids, but this will bring in a whole nother group of kids that we're able to have an impact on beyond just our traditional Go grants that we're funding right now.
All right, so we've got one last segment with Elon Professor David Bocchino. We are talking all things sports betting, and so we've got a couple of questions here. Someone's asking, am I allowed to call the gambling hotline for a family member who's addicted, or does it have to be them to make the call?
No, you should absolutely call. Gambling addiction's a very serious ailment. It affects tons of people around the country, and so if you do have concerns, you really want trained professionals to handle that. It's the same with the drug addiction, so I would call, reach out, try to seek out the next steps of what you should be doing, and let that person sort of guide you into the next steps for sure.
All right, the next question deals with winnings. Are they reported? Do I have to report my winnings on my taxes?
Another part of regulation is the answer is now absolutely you do. So that's taxable income. Work with a trained accountant or whatever your tax preparation service is. But if you win more than a certain amount of money, usually it's about $600. That is absolutely taxable income that you should be reporting. It will be fascinating to see how many people around the country know that or follow the rules.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
It is.
Okay. This next question says, would you share how the money part works? Like, if you bet $5, how do you know how much you're going to get back if your team wins?
So you got to go on the app. All that stuff's laid out. Whichever app you're using, it's all laid out in terms of you're going to wager this amount and win this amount of money. Usually, if you're into one of these really complicated 6-way bets, which you're probably going to lose, to be honest, they'll tell you what you could possibly win out of that, and so it'll all be laid out pretty clearly when you start getting into the infrastructure of these platforms.
And we did have that whole first day's bets, and the first bets were for UNC to win. Did that surprise you? What'd you think when you saw those stats?
Yeah, it's a pretty good story, right? UNC, the first bet. I mean, listen, I'm a pretty skeptical person, so that sounds more like a PR stunt to me. But maybe the first, was for UNC to win, and it's not surprising, but it also makes for a great story. So it kind of puts up a red flag in my book. Okay.
All right. What do you think we're going to be talking about? What do you think it's going to look like a year from now when sports betting is a year old in North Carolina?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there's obviously going to be more people are going to be involved. More people are going to be betting. Hopefully the ads will subside a little bit and they'll move on to the next state. I don't know what the next state that's going to, pass legalization is, but hopefully a year from now, at least my hope, I don't want gambling to take over sports. I don't want all sports events to be about, betting and the gambling nature. So I hope it becomes kind of a side complement to the sports experience where those who have no interest in betting and gambling can ignore it completely. And those who do want to, add a little bit to their sports fandom experience and the sporting event can be involved. That's where I want it to be. I'm a little concerned that it might be more than that and will take away from the traditional value of what we really appreciate sporting events for. But I guess we'll have to see in a year.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, everybody, it seems like, wants to kind of dip their toe in just a little bit. And would you say, if you're a little curious, go ahead and do it?
Yeah, it's an exciting new thing, right? And, there's the one thing I'll say is if you think you're going to get rich off this, there's very, very, very little chance you're going to get rich off this. The house always wins. You'll hear stories from your friends about how they won a ton of money on an 8-way parlay. You will not hear the story about they lost 25 8-way parlays before they finally hit that. So you're not going to get rich off it. If you want to do it to have fun, go for it.
Gotcha. Okay. Don't bet the rent money on it. Thanks so much for your time and your expertise. We'll be talking to you more, I'm sure. If you missed any of this, you can find it in the 2 Wants to Know section of our website.